flood risk is still with us today and tomorrow. I'll show you our rain and storm chances hour by hour. Plus, the new timeline for Erin to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane.
Stealing from the person she was supposed to be taking care of.
Miss Lowry, should you be trusted to take care of elderly people?
Yes. Can you leave her alone?
What the family of a home health aide charged with fraud said after court, and how you can protect your loved ones.
Parking problems. A shortage of spaces on campus at Apex Friendship High School is stirring up quite the debate between town council members, neighbors, and parents off campus.
Welcome to 7 o'clock, everybody. I'm Dan. Good to have you with us. Got to say, kind of a busy weather day, don't you think? And I don't just mean the rain. You know that storm that came through our area today? Look at what it brought to Ocean Isle Beach, a water spout off into the distance. Part of the area was under a tornado warning because it might come ashore there. Then you got Tropical Storm Erin, of course, that's churning out there in the Atlantic right now. That could spell some trouble for our coast, too, but we'll see. We still have some things to talk about. Then you got this, finally, some clear skies in our area. Can we just take a moment, breathe this in, appreciate it for a moment? All right, Kat Campbell, she joins us now. The rain chances do ramp up again in a couple hours.
They do, Dan. We've got some action on the radar that we are watching. I do have good news for you as well, though, for your weekend. A 30% chance of an afternoon storm Friday and Saturday, and that is it for the weekend. Make sure you've got your WRAL weather app handy in case you see some dark clouds. But take a live look at Wilson. You can see the rain in the background and the whirligig park, showing that the whirligigs are really spinning in the wind there. That's the shower that we're watching around Wilson. Some pretty heavy rain, but no lightning for now. Most of the lightning is up closer to Carr Lake and closer to Halifax County. Fremont seeing the heavy rain right now, but there is one small shower right over Wilson. We've also got the storms closing in on Carr Lake. Those could eventually make their way to Lake Gaston. Northern Granville County seeing the lightning as well. Here is Tropical Storm Erin. It is really starting to come together today, and it should be a hurricane tomorrow. We're likely to see a pretty significant rip current risk. I'll have a closer look at that coming up.
All right, Kat, this is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center. At the top of the newscast, we showed you that video from Ocean Isle Beach. Well, take a look at what that same cell produced just off the coast around Myrtle Beach just a couple of hours earlier. This is at Murrells Inlet from the Hot Fish Club deck, and you can see a very definite water spout out there in the distance. The public reported that. Thankfully, it stayed offshore. No reports of any problems there. And tonight, we checked with Brunswick County officials, and they have no reports of any damage from that earlier tornado warning.
My goodness, look at that thing. All right, thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Tonight, the North Carolina Central University community will mourn the loss of London Powers. She was shot and killed in what her family is calling a domestic violence shooting. WRL's Willie Danley joining us live in Durham, where the community will hold a memorial to remember her. Willie?
Dan, right now I'm standing outside of the Walgreens on Holloway Street in Durham. This is where 21-year-old London Powers worked while she was getting her master's degree at NCCU. Friends, family, and coworkers are starting to arrive for a balloon release that's going to be taking off in just 30 minutes. I want you to take a look at this. These are photos of that NCCU student who was killed on Monday. I spoke to Powers' mother, and she told me that her daughter recently broke up with her boyfriend, Damian Tinsley. She arrived at that apartment on East Knox Street to pick up the rest of her things. That's when she says Tinsley fired shots on Powers and then turned the gun on himself. Friends and family of Powers tell me that they are heartbroken at this loss, and it's left an irreparable hole in all of their hearts. As I said, this balloon release is set to begin in the next 30 minutes. WRAL will be there. We're going to keep you up to date with how it goes. In Durham, Willie Danley, WRAL News.
All right, thank you, Willie. So if you're just getting to the news tonight, we want to get you caught up on everything. And these are the 5 things you should know right now. State health officials, they want Mark Robinson's wife to pay up. They are turning to collections agents to get $100,000 from Yolanda Hill, the former lieutenant governor's wife. She ran the nonprofit Balanced Nutrition. Last year, the state health department accused the organization of failing to pay them $100,000. Hill and Robinson did not immediately respond for comment. In the past, they've claimed this whole thing was brought up to damage Robinson's political career. Today, investigators confirmed the body found in Florida in a pond is, in fact, a teenager that went missing from Fuquay Marina. 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier was in Orlando, in that area, visiting family when he disappeared. Investigators still aren't sure the cause of death, but right now they say there are no signs of foul play. Creedmoor Road in Raleigh is back open. This is after what you see here. It's a bad crash that happened today. Sky 5 over that scene. Firefighters found someone pinned inside a car there. They were able to get that person out within about 5 minutes. At least one person was taken to the hospital, and it's still not clear exactly what led up to that crash. One of those weapons scanners helped to stop a gun from getting into a school today. You know, a lot of schools have those at the front door now. The Nash County Sheriff's Office says that a parent had a gun in their bag when walking into M.B. Hubbard Elementary yesterday. Now that parent is charged with possession of a gun on educational property. Tomorrow, a vote is set to make some big changes to the state health plan. Hundreds of thousands of people will likely end up with higher premiums when it's all said and done. It's a sliding scale. How much more you pay will depend on how much money you make. The annual deductible on the standard plan, though, will double. Copays are going to go up, too, for prescription drugs, emergency room visits, and more. The board says the increase is needed to cover higher expenses. A home health care worker accused of stealing from a patient faced a judge in Durham today. Victoria Lowry is her name. She faces 5 felonies. According to her arrest warrant, she stole more than $4,000 from the 89-year-old woman she was taking care of. WRAL's Monica Casey takes us inside the courtroom and shows us why this case, sadly, isn't unusual.
Victoria Lowry, flanked by family members.
Ms. Lowry, do you have any comment on the charges against you?
Did not speak after her first appearance.
Ms. Lowry, do you have any message for the family in this case?
At the moment, no.
Ms. Lowry, should you be trusted to take care of elderly people?
Yes. Can you leave her alone?
She faces 5 felonies. A spokesperson for Lilies of Hope Home Health Care tells me Lowry is no longer employed there, and their agency reported the incident to DHHS, working with the sheriff's office and the victim's family in this case. It's not the first case of fraud against an elderly person in our area. In 2020, a Smithfield nursing home employee was charged with stealing a patient's identity. In 2023, a Durham family discovered missing money after their mother's death, and their home health aide was charged. And in April of this year, 8 suspects stole a total of $40,000 from an elderly man. The Durham County Sheriff's Office recommends securing financial documents, monitoring bank accounts, not lending money, protecting your valuables, and reviewing credit reports to protect your loved ones from fraud.
I wish that I could say that I was surprised.
William Lamb is a board member of Friends of Residents, an advocacy group working to improve the quality of care. He says due diligence is key, whether you're hiring private duty care or working with an agency.
What agency is it? What is their reputation in the community? How long have they been in the community? Are they accredited or certified by an outside agency?
Lamb says while cases like this aren't surprising, the majority of care is given by people with good hearts doing a difficult job. In Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Back here in the WRAL Live Center, you know WRAL is part of the Clear the Shelters campaign this month, and all new at 7 o'clock. We've learned of one shelter that definitely needs some help. Wake County Animal Center says that the shelter right now is full. All of the kennels are taken. And to try to address this, they are waiving all adoption fees through August 31st. Here's a look at what animals they have right now at the animal center. 16 puppies, 240 dogs, 220 kittens, and 87 cats. And officials say that if you're not in a position to adopt, they need help with fostering. They also need help with some supplies. If you can donate something to the animal center, they could certainly use it.
All right, they need people to step up. Thank you, Brian. A woman in Apex is cashing in on a lack of parking at a nearby high school. Miss Annie is her name. She lets students park in her yard. Problem is, that's kind of against the rules. So should that parking lot go away? Should Miss Annie rezone her land, or should everyone just leave her alone? It depends on who you ask. We're getting some fresh perspective on the debate at Apex Friendship High School. And stick around for tonight's One Last Thing. The teacher at Willow Springs Elementary who went viral for dancing in the carpool line is calling it a career. We're back after this. Nobody's parking lot. That is your quote of the day from a man living in Apex. He lives near a woman who's now at the center of this heated debate on town council. You see, his neighbor is Annie Scott. Miss Annie. She lives right near Apex Friendship High School. She lets students park on her property. She does this because the school doesn't have the spots. They're short about 400 spaces. She also does it because she cashes in. $300 per car. She has space for about 56 cars. That's nearly $17,000 a year. But not everyone is on board with Miss Annie's side hustle. We heard from some people who wanted to stop. We also heard from some people who think it isn't a problem at all. WRAL's Kirsten Clark has the story.
I met Alan Stadium and Hisham Osman in Annie Scott's yard. Both of their sons are juniors at Apex Friendship High School, who were looking forward to parking in Miss Annie's lot this upcoming school year.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I have school practice in the mornings. I have 2 wake tech periods, so I won't be at school during first or fourth. So I can't take the bus to school at all.
Stadium tells me he does not think Miss Annie should have to rezone to allow parking in her yard.
In 5 minutes, this could have all been cured with a simple motion, a second, and an up and down vote. And we could have done something for the kids, like we all claim to want to help.
Though many parents and students say Miss Annie's lot is vital for parking, some neighbors tell me that it shouldn't come at the cost of homeowners.
I spoke with the man who lives just a few blocks away from Miss Annie's house. He preferred not to share his name, but felt it was important to express his concerns.
I can only describe it as a hot mess. I bought my home in this development with the expectation that it's a residential area. I did never foresee that it would become the parking lot for somebody else. You know, we're nobody's parking lot.
This resident emphasized other alternatives.
They can take a school bus or they can carpool. I don't believe every student has a right to their own parking spot.
And he questions if other Apex residents would want students parking in and around their neighborhood. So I asked Stadium and Osman the same.
Could you put yourself in their shoes and think about it from that perspective? What's your answer?
So think of it this way. In the first 12 feet roughly of every yard are public right-of-way. People can go and park in my neighborhood in front of my house, and there's nothing I can say or do about it because I have public roads.
I feel that this property specifically is being singled out in an unfair manner. And I think that Miss Annie is providing a service to the community.
A service to some and a nuisance to others. In Apex, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
Oh, why do I love this story so much? I just really like this story. It's one of those stories that is just very interesting because if you just take a moment, you can kind of understand the perspective of everybody who's involved. You know, take the city planning department. They sent a letter to Miss Annie Scott because what she was doing is against the rules, and it is against the rules. Miss Annie's home is zoned rural residential. She can do all kind of stuff with that land. She has options, but not this. She could open a fish hatchery. She could have a golf course there, even her own school if she wanted. But we went through the UDO for the town of Apex, and it is pretty clear that Miss Annie cannot have a parking lot on that property. She would have to rezone that property to do that. But you can understand why she doesn't want to go through all of that. It is expensive. In Apex, it costs at least $700 plus another $25 per acre to rezone a property. If lawyers and planners and all those folks have to get involved, then the costs really go up through the roof. And even after all of it, it might not get approved. Now you might say, Dan, this is the school's fault. Why aren't we starting there? Why is their parking lot so small that they can't have everybody parking there? Well, consider this. Apex Friendship High School was never designed for this many students. That school opened back in 2015. This is video WRAL shot back at that time when the school opened. The school estimated when they opened about 1,000 students would enroll at that time, but they knew the area was growing and they planned for that. So they built the school and the lot for more than double that 1,000 at 2,200 students. Problem is, the current student body is more than 2,700 students. They just weren't ready for that, especially in less than a decade. The Apex mayor says that the town should just change the rules, right? Leave well enough alone. Let Scott keep her parking lot. And that kind of makes sense too. I mean, building a new parking lot or getting a shuttle situation or forcing Scott to rezone that area, that all costs money, time, resources. But you can understand why the neighbors don't like it either. I mean, ask yourself, would you want a parking lot next door, especially when you didn't move next to a parking lot? Now, this story isn't over. Clearly, we like telling it here at 7 o'clock. The discussion will come up again at the next town council meeting on August 26th, and we'll just have to wait to see what happens. Kat?
Thanks, Dan. Interesting stuff. Well, let's take a look outside. The Durham Bulls are back in town this week. 84 degrees in Durham, as well as Raleigh. Fayetteville, the sun starting to set in the distance there, but we have storms that we are tracking. They're not imminent around the triangle, but the storms are closer to Carr Lake. They're going to be impacting Lake Gaston as well, and they'll pretty much parallel I-85 if they were to hold together. Wilson, still some showers around, and Northampton County has some rain and storms as well. As for these storms, the main threat would be heavy rain. We'll continue to watch the storms closing in on Henderson, perhaps Oxford as well if they hold together, as I had mentioned. Futurecast continues to keep the bulk of these storms closer to the Virginia border this evening. So at this point in the triangle, the chance for rain and storms is low. It's not zero, but only about a 20 to 30% chance this evening. And we hold that number for tomorrow and Saturday. Your weekend forecast looks very summer-like. 90 degrees tomorrow, a 30% chance of an afternoon storm, a 30% chance of an afternoon storm again on Saturday. By Sunday, it is mostly sunny. It is dry. 90 degrees the high. Summer lovers, you're going to love Sunday, and Saturday shouldn't be too bad either. Just keep in mind for the next couple of days with those afternoon storms, you want to have your WRAL weather app handy so you can check in on the Dual Doppler 5000. We have not had to talk about the heat index in about 2 weeks now, but we got to bring that back out. 90 tomorrow, but the heat index could get up to 100 with enough sun. Over the weekend, the heat index in the mid to upper 90s, and it's likely to climb back near 100 next week. Bottom line here, try to get some outdoor time in this weekend. Not too bad Saturday. Sunday is drier, it's better, but all around a good weekend. We are tracking Tropical Storm Erin. If you're headed to the beach this weekend, there is not going to be a threat from Tropical Storm Erin. Top winds are at 60 miles per hour. It needs to be 75 for it to be a hurricane. That's likely to happen tomorrow. A major hurricane perhaps by Sunday, crossing just north of the Leeward Islands, north of Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas as well in the current forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. The most likely scenario is that the center of Erin passes between the East Coast and Bermuda. Here's the thing, this is going to be a pretty big storm, so even with it staying farther offshore potentially, there's still going to be a significant rip current threat next week. You can kind of see the size of the storm when you compare the European and the American models here. The bottom line here is we like the trends that we've seen today. Things shifted back to the east a little bit, but we still can't give it an all clear. We'll wait for that Hurricane Hunter data to go into the models tomorrow and this weekend. Our 7-day forecast, it's August, highs near 90 each day with about a 20 to 30% chance of a storm.
All right, thank you, Kat. And one last thing, one last carpool dance party for Miss Johnson at Willow Spring Elementary School. She went viral for the energy she brought to the carpool lane, and we speak to her as she heads into retirement. That's after the break. But first, we're finally going to get a break from the rain this weekend. It's a great time to get out and about. One last thing. Tonight is a bittersweet farewell for a local teacher who danced her way into the hearts of millions of people. Anna Johnson, a teacher at Willow Springs Elementary School. Maybe you're among some of the 9 million or so people who watched this video in 2018 when she danced into the school's carpool lane and went viral. This has become a years-long tradition. On Friday mornings, she, at Willow Springs, dances, enjoys herself, earning the title Carpool Dancing Queen.
What's really cool is when the students get into it. They absolutely love it. They'll sometimes get out of the car and start doing it with us, and it just makes our hearts so happy to see them get so excited about it and just really get into it.
Well, today was her last day at Willow Springs. She's retiring. The school really wanted her last day to bring as much joy as she has brought countless families. They turned the carpool line pink, and Mix 101.5's Carpool Casanova helped bring the energy to another level. Miss Johnson told us that she has some mixed feelings about retirement. She's looking forward to traveling the country with her family, and she will deeply miss her Willow Springs family, the students, the parents, and the faculty.
I'm going to miss the staff and students that fill this building. They have made my heart so full.
Congratulations to her, and thanks for all the fun memories. Thanks for making WRAL your choice for local news. We'll see you back here tonight at 11 o'clock on WRAL.